Hey everyone, welcome to Q&Andy. Listen, there's a better show than you guys just asking me questions. How about hearing from Rafa about the documentary? Last week, I was lucky enough to be able to moderate a conversation after the U.S. screening of his Netflix doc that is out right now. Please watch it if you haven't. It's with Rafa and Zach Heinzerling, who is the director, who did a fantastic job, is won all the awards, is great at what he does. Netflix has let us have the footage from that conversation, so here it is. That's what it's going to be for this week's Q&Andy. Thanks for watching. Congratulations to both of you. Obviously, I can not relate to the successes of Rafa, but I can relate to the lifestyle and what it takes. And Zach, I think, not that you're looking for the feedback portion of the show, but it was nice as someone who shared a lot of spaces with Rafa and core with Rafa. We know him one way, but we were never in the room for those tough conversations. And, it was like this mythical thing. What's he talking about? What's he doing? So I thought you really captured the tennis lifestyle and the person behind it very well. So congratulations to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Rafa, welcome. I know you've been in America for about 3 hours and you're leaving soon. I was surprised when I heard that this was being done. You were someone who was always famously private, very close with your family. You had the same people around you for our entire careers. What made you say yes to this?
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for being here, first of all. And thank you, Andy. I stay not that long, but I love America, by the way. I'm not staying that long because it's my fourth time in less than 5 weeks in the country. So I have a family to take care to and some more jobs. For me, it was a big decision. I am more used to be in front of the cameras, but my concern was about my family, about my team, because in some way, when we are working, when we're having these conversations, we are just by ourselves, no? So having a camera there, listening, watching all what's happening in every single moment, is not an easy decision. And for me, the toughest part is for not bothering the other people in their private moments. But to be honest, we had a great team next to us. Zach and the rest of the team make the things very easy for all of us. And even if the beginnings always, is tough, I think Zach can talk about that too. But I think after a couple of weeks, things were moving forward in a very positive way.
You mentioned not wanting to bother your family, and you have a young family now with children. What a cool thing for them to be able to see, though, in 10 years and 15 years. They know you as dad, but the rest of the world knows you as this guy. Have you thought about that and what that will mean kind of moving forward, and if that'll be a cool thing for them to have in the future?
I think it will be great because I'm not talking at all about myself. So, they can see it, but I am not the kind of guy that talk about what I did or what I don't. I just try to educate the way that I think it's better. No, but not only my family. I was worried about, bothering my team too, because at the end, of course, we have some of them that are more used to the cameras, but the other ones, they are not, and they don't feel comfortable, like my physio, like other people, they are not that comfortable. So at the beginning it was a little bit, tough. I talked to them before we started, but always at the beginning, okay, no, I don't want the camera here. So sorry, but we need the camera here. So that's a process that, you need to get through.
Zach, this opportunity comes up, and you obviously know who Rafa is. What was your idea on how to portray this at the outset, and did that end up being the reality of what we saw?
I think like a lot of probably American tennis fans like myself, Rafa has always been a bit of an enigma. I didn't really know what the story would be. I got a call 2 weeks before his first match in Australia at the beginning of 2024. Can you go to Australia and film Rafa on what is likely his last season? And I was like, yes. But there wasn't a story, right? Like the idea was, it was, a potential comeback year. We were going to follow it, see what happens. Rafa was not sure if he was going to retire or not. And then within the first few weeks, as you saw in this episode, he re-injured his hip, which I think had been, probably the thing that he feared most coming back when he did. And so at that point, it was like, what now? Is he going to continue? Whoa. Does he even like having us here? I remember there's a scene
Did
where...
you like having them there?
100% no, to be honest.
Sorry, Zach, you were saying?
No, yeah, the scene in... but he never said that,
even if you are a great guy, Zach, in that moment. But that's the beginning, that's you need to go through all this process. Yeah. And even if for me is that way, imagine for the rest of the team. But it was funny. But we deal in a good way. I think that's the good story. And Zach, sorry for the interruption.
I remember in the car after you had the news, of the MRI that you had a tear. I was the one in the car filming and just remembering the feeling of like, this is important, but also I just want to jump out of my skin because I have no idea if I'm, literally adding insult to injury here by just being in his presence. But I think the amazing part was, you never stopped us. You never said, I don't want like when the cameras were rolling, like as you do with in tennis, like you went 100% in, and I feel like it's such a rarity in the sort of the world of people of his profile to be able to have that kind of trust, and it's something I think that because we experienced that within the first few weeks, there was a bond created between, I think, the team, which I had a great team, and Rafa's team. We were all traveling together through the season, and so it gave us time to get to know each other. It made the process easier.
So you jump into this documentary, and it's different than a documentary that basically tells a story of something that's already happened, right? And you don't know how it's going to go. You mentioned the first tournament you're at, all of a sudden, there's bad news with Rafa, and conversely, Rafa, you, at least from where I used to sit, seeing you in the locker room or before we played, you like to control every aspect of what's going on. You tape the fingers the same way every time. You have the same routines every time. Letting someone in a vulnerable moment when you don't even know what's going to happen, but the attention of the world is going to be on you, was that intimidating for you?
For me, the biggest challenge was the decision. Because I know myself, and when you decide to do something, or you do it, or you are doing it the proper way, or you don't do it, So when I finally, decided to move on, and said, okay, let's do it, then I do it with all the consequences. Sometimes that you're going to be filmed things that you don't want to, but that's what's happening, and that's the way that's probably what Zach was saying before. When you are filming a documentary, you cannot, film only the beautiful moments. I mean, you film the real things, and that's part of the decision. That was the most challenging part. But when I finally say, okay, let's make that happen, then I move it all in with all the consequences.
Zach, what did you learn by following Rafa, not for Netflix, but just on a personal level, observing him throughout the year? What made him stand out, and what was unique to you?
Well, I talked about
Don't be too polite, huh?
Maybe I should talk about your family and your team. I mean, Rafa's been with the same team, for his entire career. I think his family was, his wife and his parents had really never, ever done. I don't think Mary had ever done an interview on camera. Mm-mm. Yeah. So you just imagine, how intimidating that would be for her. And, not having that sort of knowledge of, media training or knowing how to answer, there was just such an honesty and openness and, real kindness that shines through, I think, in your family's interviews that speaks volumes, I think, about, who Rafa is and how he's lived his life. And so I feel like in you can see as much about Rafa in the people that surround him as you can in him. And there's something refreshing sort of about how natural a process that was. And Benito and Carlos, who, we worked closely with, were just very trusting of this, it was an American production. I speak some Spanish, and we had, a Madrid sound recordist, Juan Bertrand, who was amazing. But it's, Rafa lives in Mallorca. They speak Mallorquin. It's very intimidating to have an outside presence, show up and film. So it just speaks, I think, to the sort of the trust, but also I feel like he exists as this sort of like, this family that you're invited into and sort of held in the same warmth that he does the others. And I don't know if you remember this from tour, but like, that's Rafa, right? Like the ball boys. Who do the ball boys talk about? They talk about Rafa. I don't. You could speak more to this, but
I was never his ball boy. Just so we're clear, I don't.
The other players.
No. Times are tough, but we haven't gotten there yet.
They unanimously voted that Rafa was their favorite player and that you were not.
I'm not offended by truths. Rafa, what's your relationship like with tennis now? Obviously, looking back on this, you've been retired 2 years. There's a tournament going on in Paris that you might know about. Do you watch much? Are you interested, or is it time to just take a break?
Mix of everything. I mean, I don't follow tennis every week. I follow tennis tournaments that I like, matches that I am interested on. For example, this week I watched probably more minutes of tennis than in the last 6 months, but with zero hard feelings. I am not watching every week because I am not that much interested on every week. I like to see when is a match that can be interesting in a tournament like Roland Garros, and now it's all surprises. It's interesting about what's going on, how it's gonna finish, about if Zverev gonna finally win a Grand Slam, or somebody unexpected will win Roland Garros. I mean, that's interesting for me right now, but not every week is interesting. Then, of course, I'm going to follow Wimbledon, but I am working every day on the academy, so I follow tennis in a different perspective. I am with kids, understanding what they need, trying to see the academy in a bigger picture, because we are in the process of expansion. So I am a sports person. I love sports in general. I am following sports now in a different way, and it's good in some way to make a step back and see it in a sport with a bigger perspective, not as a player.
The other thing that I think is interesting and great for the game. You hear whispers behind the scenes. You're not public or showy about it at all, which will surprise no one. But I know Iga has leaned on you for mentorship. I know you're close with Carlos. How important is it to you to be able to take knowledge, what you did right, what maybe you got wrong at some points, maybe patience with an injury or something? How important is it to you to always be available to the next generation of players when they kind of want to share those lessons, whether it be tennis or kind of life generally?
I mean, I am very clear about that. I am not ready to help anyone in a diary basis, because I have plenty of things in my life that don't allow me to put all my attention in a particular player the way that they deserve it. So that's the truth. But then, I mean, my phone is always open for any call, for any player. If they want to come to the academy for a few days, I will be there. I mean, Iga came, Sasha last year for a while. Then I had couple of conversations with other players that these ones are public, the other ones that don't. So I don't want to say that. But a couple of players that they asked me for a tip or for a conversation about how I deal with one thing or with another. And yeah, I mean, if I can help the others with zero interest, because I probably, all these young players, all the things that they are living today, I went through. I'm happy to do it. For me, it's not a big issue, and if I can be a help, very welcome.
Zach, I have one last question for you. Going into this family type atmosphere, intimidating in its own right, but was there anything that you did besides show up and do your job that created an element of trust once you kind of had the decision from Rafa to say yes?
I think is probably a lot of filmmakers can relate to. There's this sort of like unspoken connection that you have to the subject where you know when to push and you know when to step away. And I always felt that, you know, Rafa, in his own way, he wouldn't necessarily, you know, he would never tell us to like scram, but like you could sense when maybe we were pushing too much and that he needed a little bit of space. So there's this like dance that you're, you know, constantly doing. But, you know, I will say like one of the most difficult parts of making this is, you know, when you're finished and you share the series, what is the person who you've just made a series about going to think about it? And I will say that like I was incredibly nervous. You know, there were many ways that if he had hated the project, he could have destroyed it or whatever. He basically didn't really have any notes. His notes were, you know, that he wanted to feature certain people in his life that he felt, you know, deserved more time. You know, there were specific things about shots, but the essence of it, he was like, well, you're, you know, the director. I trust you and the team. And that's kind of, you know, incredible in a lot of ways. But I want to ask Rafa one question, if I can. Is there anything that you felt like you learned about yourself from watching the series? That it's impossible to have a real opinion about a series that you are the main actor. So that's the truth. It's so difficult to watch yourself there and have a real opinion, because I mean, you know, when you told me you talk about me, I mean, I am not, for my education, I'm not the kind of guy that I need a lot of compliments. You know, I don't need to hear, okay, how good I am or how. But in the other hand, because I was a little bit educated like this, I am not the one who says, okay, how good you are, man. But you ask me how you see the documentary, I say, well, good. But he was like, I don't love it, but I like it. It was like, it's okay, which honestly is a compliment. It's like, As long as you didn't hate it.
That's funny.
But that's the truth, because for me it's so difficult to stay in the sofa, watch a docuserie about myself, and don't analyze things, you know. So and to be honest, I say that to you and to my team, I think, but my opinion don't have much value, because it's it's not important. The important value is about what the people who follow my career more or less, or don't follow my career, thinks about the series, because that's the audience, and that's the audience that we're gonna approach. And that's the story that Zach, that is the director, after following me and my family and team for almost 2 years, want to show. So he has the better overview than me. He's the same when I was on a tennis court. I could have an opinion about what's going on in that moment and what I have to do, but from outside you have different people that they have the full picture. And even if I was one of the best players of the world, it's easier to see the things, what's going on from outside, because you have a better vision. And in that, I applicate the same, ¿cómo se dice? Yeah, I don't know in English exactly how to say it now, but the same theory.
We have one question from the audience.
Yeah, hello. Seth Meyers, Late Night with Seth Meyers. Zach, people might not know, you're my brother-in-law. We married sisters, and because of that, you've seen me on the tennis court. And I guess my question is, do you see more Andy in my game or more Rafa?
I'd see more John Oliver in you as a tennis player
in my tennis
than
game.
either of these
and as
two.
somebody in showbiz and not sports, I know how much positive feedback matters. And I just want to say I thought it was an excellent documentary.
Thank you.
One more time for Zach and Rafa. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Thank you.